Good morning. It's a pleasure to be here. So I wish I could be here in person. Traveling is still a bit restricted at the European Commission. I'm really delighted to be part of this really nice panel, and I was really impressed by the inspiring words from Tom Welton. I just heard the end of the previous session, so I'll delve right into my topic. I'll try to give you quickly an overview of the latest development in EU policy and funding for gender equality in research and innovation. And I'll start by recalling that our core policy framework for our action is the European Research Area, which since 2012 has set gender equality and gender mainstreaming in research as its top priorities, with three underpinning objectives: gender equality in careers at all levels, gender balance in decision-making, and the integration of the gender dimension into the contents of research and innovation. So embedding sex and gender analysis into projects and programs. And one common policy approach for this is institutional change, which has been translated at national level through national action plans and strategies and support for the implementation of gender equality plans, and at organizational level, mainly through encouraging gender equality plans. We have translated that into our funding programs at European Commission level and EU funding in general through our framework program. So since FP7 and under Horizon 2020, over 200 organizations have been supported through 30 implementing GEP, we call them, the gender equality plans, projects for a budget of over 72 million euros. And in addition to this, we've also funded support projects, coordination projects, research projects, such as an academy on gender equality training, or a network of communities of practices on gender equality plans, or else policy coordination project. And here I'll just highlight that at the time I was the coordinator for the GenderNet EraNet, in which then Athena's One managing unit, so the Equality Challenge unit, was a partner in that project, and so was the Canadian NSERC, actually an observer, and then a partner in the follow-up project. So a whole set of supporting projects and actually funding to implement gender equality plans. And this led to a wealth of good practices, some guidance that each of these projects had to come up with, and a lot of this has been assembled in an online tool that we developed with the European Institute for Gender Equality called the Gender Equality in Academia and Research tool, the GEAR tool. And you can see the little image here. And so quite a solid background, but still some persisting inequalities, and the will at European Commission level and a new momentum for really changing gears. And this has resulted into strengthen gender equality provision in the new framework program, Horizon Europe. And this is enshrined in the legal basis and addresses three levels: a gender equality plan that becomes an eligibility criterion, and I'll detail that a little bit better longer in the following slides. And also for all research and innovation projects, integrating the gender dimension in their content becomes mandatory by default, unless really a specific topic underlines that in that case it is not mandatory. And gender balance within research teams becomes a ranking criterion for a proposal with the same score. Now, let me go in a little bit deeper into what this eligibility criterion is. It applies to higher education institutions, to research organizations, research performing organization, and to public bodies, so ministries, research funding organization, and other public bodies from member states and associated countries. And there are a set of, let's say, minimal criteria, requirements that they have to fulfill. So this does not yet apply to organization from the UK, pending, hopefully, association to the framework program. So, sorry. There are 4 process-related mandatory requirements. The gender equality plan needs to have, well, of course, target and address relevant issues in the organization, and it needs to be a public document signed by the top management, published on the public website, also disseminated throughout the organization. You need to have dedicated resources, financial, human, to implement this gender equality plan. It needs to be evidence-based, so collecting and reporting on sex and or gender disaggregated data is a requirement. And you need to build capacity, train on gender equality in research and innovation, including on unconscious gender biases. And we recommend some content-related areas. This can be adapted by the organization, and all these building blocks, we call them, were really co-created with experts, with our JEP implementing project. So these 5 recommended areas are work-life balance and organizational culture, gender balance in leadership and decision-making, gender equality throughout the career path, some recruitment and career progression, the integration of the gender dimension into the research, but also the teaching content for teaching organization, and measures against gender-based violence, including sexual harassment. This eligibility criterion applies starting with calls for proposal this year, but we've been announcing this since 2 years. So there was 1 year of let's say, a grace period before really enforcing this eligibility criterion, and we had announced it before. So we are also still supporting very much, trying to have as many organizations as possible that do comply with this requirement. I told you about the GEAR tool. It's just been updated. It's being published today, actually. And I think you will have this slide, so you can also have all the links that you see now on this slide and the others. And we are also launching a set of activities in a pilot knowledge and support facility that includes a detailed guidance on the eligibility criterion with concrete examples at national, at institutional level, some trainings for some less advanced organization for countries where there are a higher amount of institutions that do not yet have a gender equality plan, some mutual learning workshop with European University Alliances, and also setting up a network of national level contact points on this on gender equality plans. And of course, our funded projects are also developing their own awareness raising or supporting efforts. So going back to policy, I said there were persisting inequalities and issues that have not yet been addressed enough, such as gender-based violence and opening to intersections between gender and other social categories, such as ethnicity, sexual orientations, disability, but also liaising and addressing more, involving the private sector, the innovation sector, and making sure there is less heterogeneity, so geographical inclusiveness. That led the Commission to adopt a new communication on the European research area with the proposal to develop inclusive gender equality plans with member states, associated countries, and stakeholders. This is supported by member states. There was a set of documents that were adopted last November with a pact for research and innovation in Europe that sets gender equality and inclusiveness as values and principles of the ERA. and council conclusions, to which is attached a very important document, which is our roadmap for the next 2 to 3 years, which is the ERA policy agenda, in which there is a specific action on the promotion of gender equality and fostering inclusiveness, building on an important document, which is the Ljubljana Declaration. This is a declaration that was spearheaded by the Slovenian presidency in the previous semester, and that was endorsed by the Commission, but by 39 countries, 25 member states, and associated or candidates to association to Horizon Europe, and as well as some third countries. The UK also signed this declaration. And very quickly, this action has 4 interlinked outcome deliverables, 2 or more policy related, coordination related, and 2 or more specific, counteracting gender-based violence, and working with the research funding organizations on how to better integrate the gender dimension, and also make sure that assessment procedures are unbiased. And within Horizon Europe, there is also a program part that supports the implementation and the strengthening of this new ERA framework. And here you have a table presenting the projects that are to be funded. Actually, the first 2 have been selected and are in grant agreement preparation. So the first one is a think tank on developing this concept of inclusive gender equality and developing tools and supporting member states organization into implementing these. The second one is really policy coordination on this inclusive gender equality policy. 2 topics are still open. The first one is more oriented towards innovation ecosystems. The next one is for organizations advance in gender equality plan implementation, supporting less advanced organization from widening countries. And there are other types of action, a competence facility that will follow up on our pilot facility to continue to support organization, and an award that we're launching for the first time this year to reward organizations that have shown most progress in the implementation of their gender equality plan, or have already started implementing innovative approaches to inclusive, so intersectional gender equality plans. And I will stop here, just tell you that you are welcome to consult our gender equality in research and innovation policy page. There are regular updates on our policies and organization activities that we are carrying out. And one important resource is the She Figures publication, a statistical booklet that we publish every 3 years in close collaboration with member states and some other countries. And you have the links here. We are in the process of launching, actually preparing the tender for the next edition, which will be She Figures 2024. And I'll stop here. I'll be happy to answer questions if there is time. Otherwise, I look forward to hearing the other speakers and hopefully having a discussion in the panel. Thank you.